Ray from South Bend, on a recent episode of Road Dogg's podcast, oh boy, he said that he thinks the fans were wrong for cheering Becky Lynch at SummerSlam 2018 when she attacked Charlotte Flair after her loss, and that Becky was a heel for every move that she made. Does he honestly believe this, and what do you think? So I got a couple of questions about this. If you forgot, back at SummerSlam 2018, there was a triple threat match. It was Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, and Carmella for the Women's Championship, the SmackDown Women's Championship. Becky Lynch is somebody who had been floundering for a long time. Charlotte Flair was a big star on that roster. Sasha Banks was a big star on that roster. And Becky was just sort of there. And starting from, I would say, around June, May or June of that year, Becky started racking up wins on SmackDown, and the people started to really get behind her to the point where they wanted to see her win the championship. She was finally getting some momentum. Charlotte Flair went away for about 6 weeks, came back, and almost immediately wound up being inserted into the women's title match that Becky had coming to her at SummerSlam, which made it a triple threat match. They went to SummerSlam, Charlotte wins the match, she goes for the handshake when the match is over, and Becky clocks her and beats the piss out of her, and the place went absolutely apeshit. It was they showed the full crowd shot, everyone's doing the yes chant, everyone's going nuts. Here's what Road Dogg said. I'll read the quote here. I lifted the quote from his podcast. He said, the idea was that Charlotte... Now, before I even go on here, I should just mention that at the time, Road Dogg was the head writer on SmackDown. I think he stayed on as the head writer until just after WrestleMania the following year. He said the idea was that Charlotte came in and weaseled her way in and won the title and kind of stole it from her. Becky had a title match. So why? And that's just where maybe I'm older and I don't understand, but you don't just get handed crap around here. So to me, the whole thing was, I thought the fans were wrong. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Let me stop right there. He is saying that you don't just get handed crap around here. Now, I do believe that Charlotte won a match on TV, as I recall. I think she had to win a match first. So that wasn't one of those situations, which has happened since then, where Charlotte literally is just handed something. But still, she was handed. I mean, come on. She was gone for 6 or 7 weeks, came back, and more or less got handed a shot at the championship. I mean, give me a fucking break. So what he's saying here is you don't just get handed crap around here. And then he goes on to say he thought the fans were wrong. So right off the bat, we're off to a bad start here for Road Dogg. He says you're cheering the wrong person here, because what if the Bad News Bears were shaking hands with the team or whoever? Your baseball playing son is shaking hands saying, good game, good game. Or your softball playing daughter, good game, good game. And the team that loses just beats the crap out of the person. That'd be pretty funny, actually. I'm sure that's what CM Punk would tell his son to do. Do you pop for that, or do you go, oh my God, what are you doing? That's horrible sportsmanship. That's what Becky did, and people loved it. It let me know then, like, oh, okay, there's no goodness left at all. It's all Twitter. The world is Twitter. This is still my stance, and I'll have this conversation with anybody, and maybe I'm wrong, but it's my belief. Becky was the heel with every move she made, but the crowd ate it up. Yes, we predicted that they would pop for Becky at SummerSlam because Becky's star was rising. I thought, well, surely they're going to see that Becky is just a spoiled sport here. She lost. I'm sorry, you lost. And then because you lost, you beat me up. You beat up your friend. I can sit here and talk all night about how she should be the heel in this story, but because of society and how the culture is, and I would say wrestling Twitter, which leads the conversation a lot of times, blah, 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 this is how it unfolded. So that's basically his quote there. And I think it is very telling that this is the guy who was the head writer on SmackDown, that he honestly believes that the fans were wrong to cheer this woman who had been built up on television over a period of months as a babyface, as a sympathetic babyface that the people genuinely cared about and wanted to see win the championship. Here comes her friend, after being off her friend, multiple-time women's champion, her friend, who the belief in the minds of many is that she's been handed opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, which she has. She returns. She worms her way into the championship match, a title that the people wanted to see Becky win. Charlotte wins it instead, and Becky just blows up on her. And Road Dogg can't understand this. He doesn't understand the logic behind why the people would cheer for Becky Lynch. So again, they never intended for Becky Lynch to get over in the way that she did. If it were up to him, Becky would have stayed a heel the entire time. At least they course corrected and they realized from the reactions, okay, this is, clearly this is going in a different direction, so let's pivot and just kind of go with it instead of kind of fighting against the waves here. But it's amazing to me that he doesn't understand the logic behind why the people would be cheering for Becky and not for Charlotte. Charlotte is inherently, the way that she carries herself and the promos that she cuts and talking about herself as, I'm the queen, I'm this, I'm that. There's this perception, and it is a correct perception, about her character that she is handed everything. And she gets countless opportunities that other people on the roster do not get. Becky Lynch had to scratch and fight and claw her way to get to where she was. She didn't have an in the way that Charlotte Flair did. She didn't get those big WrestleMania matches up to that point the way that Charlotte Flair was getting big matches. The people wanted Becky. They did not get Becky. Therefore, they blame Charlotte for that. Now, was their blame misplaced? Should their blame have gone with Adam Pearce or whoever it was? I guess back then it would have been, I don't know who it would have been back then, who would have been in that role as sort of the de facto GM. Yeah, maybe. But the fact that he still to this day can't understand why the fans would cheer Becky and that he would blame the fans. If that's how he honestly feels, there's only one person to blame. If you think there's a problem with the way the fans reacted that night, guess what? Look in the mirror. You booked it. So he's projecting onto you and me. He's projecting onto the fans. It's our fault. Fuck the people for cheering for the person that they wanted to see win that match and was the sympathetic character coming into that Summerslam show. It's not his fault for booking it the way that he did. It's our fault. Doesn't surprise me at all. Manny from Connecticut. So sad to hear about Bray Wyatt. Body of work wasn't that long, but still entertaining. He was pretty popular and creativity out of this world. Do you think he is a Hall of Famer? Absolutely. Bray was bound for the Hall of Fame long ago. He was already a multiple-time champion. He was mostly pushed as a top guy in the company. I mean, look at the people he worked with. Most of his time in that company was spent at or near the top. He worked with John Cena. He worked with The Undertaker. I mean, look at his WrestleMania record. WrestleMania 30, he works with John Cena. WrestleMania 31, he works with The Undertaker. WrestleMania 32, he didn't work a match because he was hurt, but he did a segment with The Rock. WrestleMania 33, he worked with Randy Orton. That's just his first 3 WrestleManias. Or 4, I guess. His first 4 WrestleManias. He was always going to go into the Hall of Fame at some point, no matter what. Maybe they would have put the Wyatt family in together. He's a natural Hall of Fame candidate. I mean, look at the people that go into the Hall of Fame, or pretty much it's up to their whims anyway. But if you just base it off of the success that he had in the company and how, he was positioned on the card, he's a shoo-in. And I think he either goes in next year, or if they want the Hall of Fame next year to have more of an extreme flavor, being that they're in Philadelphia, I think at the latest he goes in 2025.